We've all been there, feeling stuck in the grind, chasing that freedom we're aching to find. But what if the answer was clearer than you knew? With numbers and strategy, we'll walk you through. No more shame, no fear inside. We're turning pressure into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise up.
Welcome to Fearlessly Debt Free. I'm Lisa Marie Hintze, and I'm so glad that you're here. I appreciate you coming along for this journey. We're always learning, that's for sure. I like to say the Fearlessly Debt Free family or the FDF family, and just know that we're in this together. And, you know, debt is a crazy thing, but I'm finding that there's all kinds of deficit and debt in our lives, and maybe not just financial, but in other ways too. So my heart is always to provide great information for all of you that you can definitely use for your benefit, to maybe plant some seeds, to come to some realizations. I like to say sometimes get our head out of the sand when there's so many things happening in the background and we're just so busy that we don't take the time or the effort to dive into some of these different things. I want to be here for that, and I want to encourage you also to make some comments. Do it anonymously. I know that this is a really sensitive topic. You know, you're not going to be running down the street talking to everybody about your financial situation, but really know that there's a safe place to have that conversation. Seeing the numbers go up, it warms my heart because I feel like there is such a huge need for this to be a conversation. And we talk about many things in life and everything is hush hush. We don't want to talk about it. But once I've been talking to people about the situations that they're finding themselves in, it's like a breath of fresh air. There's that weight that's lifted off of our shoulders. Definitely want to let you know that it's possible to get on the other side of it. And I'm having so much fun and just talking with so many different people about their situation and uncovering things and finding that clarity and having the ability to move forward with specific steps, whether it be to work with one of the programs that I have or just have that simple conversation. When I say things like that and I tell you that I'm working with others, I'm in a place right now, kind of a crossroads, that I'm deciding to do some coaching on this subject because there are so many different things that I'm finding myself being able to do with somebody. And it comes down to thinking about the accountability. I know for certain, even in the fitness industry, that if you have accountability, your success is going to catapult when you have somebody that you know is going to check in with you, or you know that you have somebody to check in with to ask questions. So think about it, and I'd love to have your feedback if you think that's something that's warranted, because again, I feel like it's going down that road. I'll still have all of the other things that I currently do, but then bring that extra element in and hope that I can help others down their journey. So lately, this weather has been interesting. Don't you know? I understand there's snow in certain areas of this country that we live in and in the world. And this morning, I actually, here in Florida, got up and I turned on my windshield wipers and there was actually ice on my windshield. And I'm in Southwest Florida. That never happens. But of course, the cold is a little bit more than I'm happy with. We look for this time every single year. It's so hot. And as the time comes and it gets cooler and everybody pulls out the sweater for the 1 week of the year and the boots, now it's a little extreme. I think it's an overachieving cold at this time. So anyway, let's move on to what we're going to talk about, and that is the storms. The storms. Yes, we have storms. And yeah, again, it's cold and we're bundled and I'm comfy casual today. And we are going to talk about the benefits to a storm because it wakes us up. It allows us to take matters into a different hand and to move into action. So when we talk about the storms, I want you to see how they relate and correlate to our everyday life. When the storm rolls in, the first thing that you want to do is anchor yourself. So you imagine, okay, I'm getting sure-footed. I'm not going to let anything be pushing me around or wavering me. I'm going to get anchored. So when you get anchored, it's really thinking about the spending diary that I talk about often. And that spending diary has been in a place where it gives you the ability to see exactly what's coming in and exactly what's going out. Some people will call it budgeting, and there's a lot of benefit to budgeting, but I love the idea of that spending diary. You can put it right on your phone. There's lots of different apps out there that you could use, but statistically, 85% of people who track their spending, they actually achieve their financial goals a lot quicker. Similar to the accountability that you have with somebody else if you're working with somebody to go down that journey and to set you up for success and to give you great steps to take. When you're keeping yourself accountable and you know that every single thing that you do has to be written down, and I encourage you to do that for a week because it is not easy. It's super simple, but it's definitely not easy. So think about that being something to anchor you. You can't waver if you know that you're going to write it down and you're actually seeing what's coming in and what's going out. So that's the first thing, anchor yourself and think about how those steps will take you to that freedom that you're hopefully excited about. How would it feel to have that clarity? So that's the first thing. The next thing is to rise above the turbulence. You think about somebody who's a pilot, they go above the turbulence. You think about an eagle, they fly above the storm. So what would that look like if you were to climb above any type of turbulence or things that are happening? You can take that time to think about what you're doing. And again, we get so distracted. There are so many things happening in our life that we probably are in turbulence and we don't quite understand it or realize it. But once we get the realization and we're open to thinking, oh my goodness, I have an opportunity here to make a decision. I can fly above this storm. I don't have to get wrapped up in all this stuff and all the noise and make it to my benefit and not just go along with it. The storms will take you away if you're not being specific and flying above them. So think about this. Think about that being your goal setting opportunity to fly above the storm. You're setting your goals. Your goals are in place. That's above the storm. You're sticking to it no matter what. And of course, people that do have goals, they are 2 times more likely to reduce the debts because they're planning. They have the plan in place and they're on the track to that greatness. They're on the track to what the goals are that you're setting for yourself. And let me just remind you, your goals don't have to be massive. They can be small goals. They can be goals like look into your bank account, look into your bills that you're paying, actually see what's on the statements each and every month instead of just letting them go in the pile of mail, and looking through them and combing through them and have the plan in place and asking yourself the question, does XYZ line up with my plan? Does this line up with my intention? So if you're in the place where you're asking yourself those questions, and it's simple, you don't have to put a lot of time or effort into it, it will help you to achieve those goals at the end of the road. Imagine getting that weight off your shoulders. When you have the plan and you're not wondering in the background all the time, I've even heard that people have lost weight because of the stress of holding on to those thoughts and the stress of wondering, oh my goodness, is there enough money in the bank account to satisfy whatever bill's coming in? So really take the time to put that plan into action and imagine how that's going to make you feel. Imagine that stress being lifted. And then lastly, think about what happens after a storm. After a storm, there's a refresh, there's a growth, there's spring comes after the storms, right? All that snow that's been sitting on the land all those months. When spring comes, those little flowers pop through, even if there's a little snow cover. So the ground is refreshed. Think about that in your situation. Think about having that clarity. Think about rising above the storm. Thinking about putting that plan into place and having that ability to follow it and being in a place where you can't waver, you can't be shaken. You're anchored into the whole plan that you've got for yourself. Just like your financial plan, you can do that as well. You can pay down the debt. You can grow the savings. There's so many great things that you can do for high yield savings accounts. Even while you are in your debt, think about that 10% that you can put away and how quickly that could grow. And we can do some math together and show you just what that might look like. Those who track their spending, they report that they've got 20% more confidence in your savings. So again, even as you're going through this plan and going through your journey, there's opportunities to start saving. And I just know that when things start to get exciting, like, oh my gosh, my debt is being paid off faster than I expected. Or look at that bank account that I haven't looked at for 6 months and I keep putting money in there. Those are the things that you don't really want to look at, is when you keep putting it in and you revisit in a couple months and you see how quickly it grows. It gets you excited. It gets you playing almost like a game, like, oh my goodness, this is a lot more exciting than I expected. So we talk about the importance and the mindset of not only putting all of that together and thinking in your mind, but also an emergency fund. Because if you are not preparing and planning with an emergency fund, you could just get the carpet pulled out from under you very quickly. We talk about what an emergency fund might look like, and it's just, again, to prepare you so that you're not caught off guard. What new growth will you nurture once your storm clears? Think about that question, and think about when all the snow is melted in the spring and how the spring feels and how it looks, and just that whole image of how it's fresh and renewed. Think about that for yourself, because you don't have to be in a situation that's negative and sad for a long time. It's a matter of just changing your mind, changing your mindset, and knowing that it's possible that what has happened in the past can be turned over very quickly with a few simple steps. Obviously, you want to talk about your income. You want to decide what you could do to increase your income. And I know sometimes it's very stressful, especially with having conversations. It feels like you're burning the candle at both ends, and how much more can I do? But having the ability to talk to somebody during that season is very, very powerful. That is what I had to talk with you all today about, but I want to give you a quick story. There has been a client that I worked with not too long ago. It was about 5 or 6 months ago, and the conversation was about credit card debt. They were in a position that they thought maybe they could pay it down a little bit, but see if they could do a 0% card. So taking the high interest rates of the credit cards and then transfer them to that 0% card is a very great strategy to use. There is always a warning though. If you do change everything over to the 0% card, if it's 18 months or 12 months or even 24 months, they're offering it at this time in some cases, then you would definitely want to make sure that that card is paid by the deadline so that you don't get all of that interest thrown back at you. So there is a strategy involved. However, when the client wasn't able to secure that card at the time, they decided to continue to pay down the debt aggressively. So they worked at it and worked at it. And here it is 6 months later. And the question was, well, do I try to get that 0% again? I've paid it down X amount of dollars. And absolutely, if you are 6 months out and they see that there's been a great effort towards paying down debt, they're going to be more apt to give you that credit card that has the 0%. So the suggestion is to call the companies directly as opposed to doing the applications online, and talk to a real person. Let them know what your intention is. Let them know what you're doing and how you're aggressively attacking and tackling that debt, so that they have the ability to talk to somebody to then approve that credit card. So if the person that you're talking to isn't able to work with you, then you ask to talk to their manager, and you keep going up the totem pole until you talk to somebody that will really hear your heart and potentially be able to give you that credit card. Now, it does have more to do than just that. Obviously, credit score is involved there as well, but there's definitely a very good chance that if you talk to them, they'll consider it. And there's lots of different cards out there as well. So that's the plan there, is to go back and revisit. Just because they say no 6 months ago doesn't mean that's the same answer today, especially if you're moving very rapidly towards paying that debt down. I just wanted to share that story with you. Having her go through the steps, and so proud of her, so proud of the steps and the advances that she's been making. We have to applaud ourselves. We have to give ourselves credit for the things that we're doing, and know that when we continue to focus on the great things, we'll get more great things. You focus on what you get, and you get what you focus on. So keep that in mind as well. Last thing I will say is this is an opportunity to have your discovery call. And here we are, always going through these years way too fast, in my opinion. Don't know where the time has gone. And if you had really lofty goals at the beginning of this year and you're still in a place where you're kind of floundering a little bit, do the discovery call. It's a great conversation. You may be open-minded to doing some different things that you haven't done in the past to try to get your one foot forward in front of the other. And, it's something that could typically help you as you move down your journey to becoming fearlessly debt-free. I want to encourage you to have an amazing day today. Live fearlessly, and also tune in, share this with anybody that you know who you think might enjoy this conversation, and this conversation that has the ability to make huge changes. And I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. This episode is brought to you by Fearlessly Debt Free. Do you have great income, but the debt just doesn't seem to be going down fast enough? Just know that you are not alone. At Fearlessly Debt Free, I help people just like you pay everything off. Credit cards, loans, even mortgages, in half to a third of the time, for half to a third of what you owe. And no, this isn't budgeting, it's not debt consolidation or bankruptcy. It's math, it's strategy, and it's automatic, and it works. How would it feel to be completely debt-free and to start building incredible wealth much, much faster? Schedule your free Debt to Wealth discovery call today at fearlesslydebtfree.com and take your next steps fearlessly.
We've all been there, feeling stuck in the grind, chasing that freedom we're aching to find. But what if the answer was clearer than you knew? With numbers and strategy, we'll walk you through. No more shame, no fear inside. We're turning pressure into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise above. This is your moment, it starts with self-love. Big, bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt-free, we're doing it right. Cutting through the chaos, clarity shines. Wealth on the horizon, it's finally time. Strategy strong and direction clear. Let's build a future without the fear. You're not alone, we've got your back. Rewriting your story, getting life on track. Your money, your terms, your freedom to claim. Enjoy this journey, no more of the same. Big bold moves, abundant life. We're turning pressure into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise above. This is your moment, it starts with self-love. Big bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt-free, we're doing it right. Cutting through the chaos, clarity shines. Wealth on the horizon, it's finally time. Strategy strong and direction clear. Let's build a future without the fear. You're not alone, we've got your back. Rewriting your story, getting life on track. Your money, your terms, your freedom to claim. Enjoy this journey, no more of the same. We're turning pressure into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise above. This is your moment, it starts with self-love. Big bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt-free, step into the light. One decision away.